So we are continuing on with our week of testimonies. Since last year was so crazy. So last September, me and my friends, we get together once a year and we go camping for the weekend and we go whitewater rafting. So all the other times that we done went, it's been chilling, beautiful scenery. You just look at God just dancing all over the place, like glory, 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 all over the world. I done seen some very pretty parts of America, traveling with my friends. But this year, well, rather last year in September when we went, the place that we went to, you could just tell, I don't know who did what to God, but God was not pleased with the area. The town itself was dying. The nature around it was dying. The lake was dried up. It's just very clear indications that God has lifted his hand off of the place and just let it be. Which means it was not the place that I needed to be in, especially being as though I blink and something supernatural is occurring to me. If you ever want to see supernatural things, all you have to do is stay around me for more than 5 seconds. I can't avoid it if I tried. So we get there and I'm noticing this stuff and I'm not feeling too great because I had already had several indications from the Holy Spirit not to go on this trip to begin with, but I was determined to go because I wanted to see my friends. And we go through the first day. We're just camping, hanging out, catching up because we haven't seen each other in a year. And that night, that's when all hell breaks loose. So I'm trying to go to sleep. I can't go to sleep because things are breathing on me. I have no idea what it is about entities and breathing on me, but they enjoy breathing on me. And so I'm in my tent and I'm trying to go to sleep and this thing is just breathing on me, breathing on me, breathing on me to the point where I get so frustrated. I'm like, can you stop? Like, can you stop? Like, and I'm fanning it off and I'm waving it off. So finally, I get some peace and rest and I drift off and I go to sleep. Well, I have this wild dream about how I'm in the river the next day and how we get to this one rock and I end up falling out the boat on this rock and end up banging my head on the rock. And in this dream, I die. And I did not know. I always had the assumption that you couldn't die in your dream. Like, you always wake up right before. But no, in this dream, I died. And they actually, pulled my body out of the river. And when they had retrieved my body from the river, I had a cross cut into my forehead from when I had hit the rock. So the next day, I'm like, I get up and I'm like, man, maybe I shouldn't go in the river. I think that's a very clear indication that maybe I should not go into the river. But here we go. Disobedience at its finest. I go into the river anyway. And as I am going down the river, we're chilling, we're having a good time. It was overcast that day. It rained a little bit while we were on the river. And one of the dams weren't working, so the river level was actually lower than normal. So we kept bottoming out on some rocks and hitting rocks that we normally wouldn't hit and things like that. So we're halfway through and all of a sudden I see the scenery from my dream the night before. And I'm like, here we go. This is it. I shouldn't have got on the river. I knew better. I kept being warned. So, whatever happens is whatever happens. I've already sealed my fate. I've already accepted it. It is what it is at this point. I guess I'm going to go be with the king today. And as we're coming up to the rock, I'm on the other side of the raft and I'm yeeted over to face forward to this rock. And then all of a sudden I just stop. There is just a force field between me and this rock. And I just stop and then I slide back down onto the raft. And everybody is like, how did you save yourself? It was the highlight of the day. They're like, how did you save yourself? You were going face forward to the rock. We thought that was going to be nasty had you hit the rock and this, that, and the third. And I'm in my head, I'm like, yeah, no, something definitely stopped me. And I wasn't thinking too much of it, but I did recognize the fact that I was physically stopped from hitting the rock. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that's this is the part of the dream where, like, I died. So, I'm chilling. The rest of the trip is going to be fine. I didn't escape death, my little final destination moment. I'm going to be good. So we go down, and we're like on the last set of class 5 rapids, and the the raft gets stuck in between two rocks. So the guide, he jumps into the front to like wiggle the raft free, and as he's jumping to the back, the raft is free, but he doesn't have enough time to tell us to like sit in the bottom of the raft so we don't like fall out. Man, the river did not care about 220 pounds. When I say I was yeeted from the raft into the river head first, I opened my eyes, I'm underwater. I don't remember taking a breath. I don't remember doing anything. I don't even remember leaving the raft. I open my eyes and I'm just underwater. It's murky, it's dark. I can't tell up from down, and I'm just doing this. My whole body is just doing this in a circle because I'm stuck in a hydraulic. And I didn't really have any thoughts. The first thought I had was, oh, am I in deep water? Because I was trying to make sure I didn't stand up if the water was too shallow. Like, I didn't want my leg to get caught up. I didn't want to, any of the things that they give you as safety protocols. So when I realized I was in deep water, I was like, okay, now I just got to figure out, how to get up. But I couldn't because the current of the water had me tumbling so much and so like hard that I couldn't break that. Think of being in a washer machine and your body's just doing this. So all of a sudden, I just get this wave of peace over me. It's just like this wave of peace. And then I just hear this voice and it's like, stop, relax. And in my head, I'm like, that's counterproductive because, all they keep telling us is when you're in these situations, you got to fight for your survival and you got to aid your survival when you're out of the boat. Like, help them help you. And I'm like, stopping is kind of counterproductive at this point. So, but I do it. I just stop trying to fight the circle, and, then I just hear relax. And so I relax, and as I relax, I have a life vest on, and I'm still going around in my circles, but I start being dragged under, like literally pulled lower in the water, and I have a life vest on, so we all know that's not scientifically possible for me to be dragged down. That's counterproductive to science. So I'm being dragged down, and then I hear, like, next time you turn around, because I'm still circling, next time you turn around, start swimming. So, like, I'm just sitting there, and I'm like, okay. And I go around the one time, and as I'm coming back down, I'm in a position to swim forward, because now I'm not being tossed around. I'm actually under I've been pulled under the hydraulic, so I'm not tossing around anymore all violently. So I go around the one time, and then I look up, and the whole surface of the water is bright. Like the sun is beaming down on it in this one spot, but the sun was never even out that day. It was completely overcast. It was raining. So I go and I swim towards this light, and I come up out of the water, and I'm right next to the little safety kayak, because they have a kayak going down the river to take pictures, to aid in, like, if in emergency situations, since it's easier to maneuver in a kayak, especially when people are out of the boat, so they can have something to grab onto when they come to the surface. So I broke surface, and I'm right next to the safety kayak. And mind you, I can't see where I'm going because the water is so murky and things like that. So, as I'm getting myself together, I hear everybody yelling at me. Everybody's giving me directions. Oh, grab the kayak, grab your oar, da 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 da. So I'm trying to do this, and I'm trying to breathe, because now I'm able to breathe. I'm not underwater anymore, so I'm trying to catch my breath too. And I'm in the still water. I'm not any longer in the rushing water. I actually managed to swim about 50 to 75 feet away from the rushing water, over exactly where the rest of the rafts were sitting in calm water waiting, because everybody was looking, because me and my friend, we both fell out of the raft. She immediately came back up. I did not. So they actually sat there for almost a minute waiting for me to break back to the surface. And then they started to get worried because I hadn't come up, and they had realized that I was stuck in the hydraulic, and you can drown. You cannot break the hydraulic and you can drown. So as I'm trying to get back into the raft, I'm in calm water. Like, there's nothing rushing me or anything like that. All of a sudden, I feel something grab me and pull, and I'm back under the water. Like, I'm back under the water. I'm being dragged under the water. And when I say you could physically feel something grabbing my leg and you could physically feel something else, like pulling that thing off, like there was things going on underneath the water. And so then I get back up because, their battle is their battle. I break the surface again, and, they pull me into the raft. And everybody was they were worried because, it took me so long to break the surface. And they were like, it's just crazy that as soon as you broke the surface, you were right next to us. You were literally all the way over there, and you managed to swim without breaking the surface to where we were, without being able to see where we are. And so, we had our laughs, we had our giggles and stuff like that, because that's how I deal with things. I laugh it off, and I go on about my business. But I did not feel right. I did not feel right at all. And so that later on that night, we're cooking on the campfire, we're doing this, that, and the third, and everybody's drinking, everybody's partying, and I'm just sitting there. And I just keep drinking bottles of water, just bottles and bottles and bottles of water. Like, you okay? Because at this, I wasn't drinking, I wasn't smoking, I wasn't doing nothing. So there was no reason for me to be thirsty. I just kept drinking bottles of water ever since I got out the river. And then in my head, I'm like, I'm not thirsty. I'm not thirsty. It's something spiritual. Like, I'm not thirsty. So I'm staring at the fire, and all of a sudden, I'm just like, guys, my soul feels so dry. Like, it feels so dry. It feels dry like this lake. And then I started cursing and rebuking the land around me, because now I want to realize I ain't got no business being there. And it's like, no, my soul, it feels so dry. I feel like something to snatch my soul out. And so, we go through the night, and the next day, I wake up and everything's back to normal, except for I still feel like my soul is just gone. Like, it's just not there. It's just wherever it is. So when I get back home, I had ordered a Bible, and it just so happened the day I left for my trip, the Bible had arrived. When I get back home, I literally start compulsively reading the Bible. Like, I would literally read all afternoon for hours and hours on end. I would get frustrated when people would call me. I would get frustrated when people would be trying to talk to me. I just literally just sucked in the entire New Testament in 2-3 months. Like, the entire thing, in 2-3 months. And, that really was the turning point for me, per se, when all the games were over, all of the I don't knows were over, all of the I'm gonna keep playing in God's face was over. After that day, when I say I was no longer the same person, I was no longer the same person. The Lord definitely came and snatched my whole soul in the river and just cleaned me out, because there's things that once I left, I never did again. I didn't have to try to stop. I didn't have to work I just never did it again. Lots of things. And I was just not the same person after I got out that water. And I don't often tell people the story, but now I'm starting to realize the significance of this story. And it is a story to definitely share, because that was definitely my turning point with God. And I'm like, all right, I'm not playing with you no more. What I'm saying? I'm being serious this time. And, right after that, maybe a couple of weeks after that, I started going back to church. And within that month, I had did my first fast to really show, listen, I'm serious. Okay, I'm serious this time. I'm not backtracking this time. I'm not in it 1 second, out of it the next second. No, I'm good. I'm all in. I'm whatever you need me to do. Okay, whatever you need me to do, whatever you want me to do, I got you. And that day is why I'm here the way I am today.